Like I told some people earlier, they got too many heavy hitters up here speaking today. Coach Curtis, Coach Sandy, Coach Wickenberg, Edward Hilton Daniels III. And so they brought me up here to kind of balance it out, the little people, to speak for the little people. And I guess Kenny told me I was supposed to talk about the Saints. So show of hands, who in here thought that the Saints would win Sunday? Be honest. Raise your hand. Nobody? I thought somebody would at least lie. But that's pretty accurate. Yeah, I felt the same way, and I think everybody did. When Cincinnati was here, I got a chance to go in the locker room to talk to Vance Joseph, who most of you remember his outstanding quarterback at Shaw, one of Joseph brothers, who's now the secondary coach for the Bengals. And I went to the locker room to talk to him, in a while. And we were talking about just the state of things and that they just defeated the Saints in the Superdome and all. And this is exactly what he told me. He said, "Bro, this stuff changes every week." He said, "Remember the first 3 weeks of the season they told us we were the best team in football, the Bengals?" Yeah. I said, "Yeah, remember we all retired Tom Brady at one point, where he is now." Yeah. Aaron Rodgers had to do his relaxed speech, so we were down on the Packers. And this is exactly what Vance said. He said, "They'll probably go on the road and win a game soon." And he was right. They went on the road and won a game, so when they won the last 2 games on the road, they won. I guess the thing about the Saints, everybody's disappointed. Well, a lot of people are, even though they lead the division, disappointed because they're 5-7, because everybody thought that there were shoe-ins. Well, not everybody. A lot of people thought there were shoe-ins for the Super Bowl. And I think that the problem has become that I think a lot of the people that they thought would replace some veteran people are not as good as they thought they were, not performing as well as they thought they would, and injuries had a lot to do with it. When you're in a situation with the Saints as they've been in the last 3 or 4 weeks where you're assigning people off other people's practice squads and bringing them into play that week, that's a problem for the NFL. Because it really still comes down, I believe in coaching, but it really still comes down to the people on the field. And I think that they probably ought to keep the quarterback in spite of what some people have been saying lately, and Drew Brees. The Saints are on a 500 team, but I've always thought without Drew Brees, probably even the Super Bowl year, maybe even more so the Super Bowl year. That's how I've always thought. But things are looking up because I think they're still going to win the division because they're the best team in a bad division. And so they're going to be in the playoffs. And once you're there, maybe they'll do like Seattle did the Saints that year, going in 7-9 and winning. But they should definitely win Sunday. Should. But like Vance Joseph told me, this stuff changes every week. And he was absolutely correct. Anything else you wanted to say about the Saints? With all this high school football stuff going on, I really don't pay too much attention to it during this week, to be perfectly honest. Any questions?
Now, there was a report that came out that said that the Saints are going to be looking for a new defensive coordinator at the end of the season.
Oh, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, I was going to bring that up too. My little brother and I always talk about this. When you hear coaches say that they don't pay attention to television and that they don't read the newspaper, all coaches pay attention to television. And all coaches read the newspaper, especially if you are a professional coach, because that is a huge part of what you do and how you do it and why you do it, in spite of what they want to say. Remember that day? You asked me that question rhetorically as Jim Mora walked by. He said, "Bro, what do you think Coach is going to do when he stops coaching?" I said, "He'll probably be a member of the media." And he said, "Never. It'll never happen. If that happens," what did he say? "I'll buy both of you dinner."
Still waiting.
First thing he did. Yeah, we're still waiting.
He's got a lot of money.
First thing he did, okay? But my point is that, so, trust me, I mean, Sean Payton knew exactly what he was going to be asked yesterday. He knew. He was ready. He knew. He's filled in on it, and they do pay attention to it. Some of this stuff where there's smoke, there's fire, you know, I don't think that he's, you know, trying to fire Rob Ryan, but yeah, they do butt heads a lot. They have to. The defense isn't playing well, the two personalities, yeah. And I'm sure some of the exchanges have been even worse than what we see on the side. I think. You know, and that's understandable. Ray Rice, no, I can't see him being interested in Ray Rice, but that's just my opinion. I can't see him doing that. That was one of the other reports. But I just want to make sure that, you know, people understand these coaches. I mean, they're really, and most of them feel that when they stop coaching, it's their birthright to work in media anyway. It's become that way. It really looks that way, you know, especially, well, basketball coaches do the same thing. And that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But no, I don't, you know, and the other one was that they're going to draft a quarterback. And they may draft a quarterback. They need to start moving a quarterback. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, it depends on who the quarterback is and where they can get it. That's okay. I don't see why that means that they're not pleased with Drew Brees. Because if they do get it, it'll probably be somebody like Aaron Rodgers that's going to sit there until Drew Brees can't move his arm anymore like they did with Brett Favre. Anyone else? Well, then before I sit down, I just want to say that I'm really glad that these two guys and their teams are in the state final. I wish we could have gotten Newman there. Been nice. But for Mark to come back and bring him to the final, that's really super. For JT to come, still be there, and still doing his thing. With Jesuit being in it, it does make me think of the 1978 game. Obviously, think if we get that. Yeah, but also it even goes back further with Jesuit being in it. I can remember listening to the Jesuit LeGrange game on WGSO radio. 21-20, I think, with Pat Screen and all that good stuff. You know, I guess I was one of those kids who was a junkie. The high school football teams in the LIALO, which was the African American League, most of the local teams have been eliminated. Really good teams at that time, like you know, Bobby Lewis's dad was quarterback on that team, by the way, played on the Jesuit team in '78. But if you really want to find out what really happened at the 1978 St. Aug Jesuit football game, you go to that man right over there, and you ask him, Frank Miseraca, who was the athletic director at Jesuit. Because neither Frank nor Nick Connor, who was the athletic director at St. Aug, would ever tell me how much money they walked out of that door with that night. And I know it was a lot, okay? They were loaded down, okay? So if you really want to get the real story, go right over there to Frank Miseraca. Anything else? And by the way, I've always said you could replace Frank Wilson. And look at you. Come here, you've done it.
I need his paycheck.
You're beyond his tag bracket a long time ago.